Makes you smile, doesn't it? Makes me want to just stand up here and la 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 la. But I can't do it like that. Where's that cute little voice coming from? It's so cute. It's this little wisdom that la la la. Yeah, la. So happy to see your faces here, your hearts here, yourselves here. There is a moment of watching Seth Meyers, who I get such a kick out of. He was sharing his statistics that I think it was something like women hold their friendships for about 16 years. And the question was, well, what happens at that 16th year? And Seth says, she knows what she said. And I thought, that's the way it happens, right? My sharing today, my intention is to share some of the wisdom of Wayne Dyer in Your Sacred Self as related to how do we define that, the ego within us and the merging to the higher self, to frame the idea of what ego is, and is it our friend, or is it a structure, a sense of participation with something we dance with that is evolved or not. And so challenging, but also the invitation for all of you to just open your hearts to la la la, la la la. If I go off on a tangent, just fill in the blanks with la la la. Because we're all speaking, right, to each other's perceptual fields. And that's good work, but it's also challenging work to find ourselves on the same page. Now, a beautiful little prayer of forgiveness that goes often with what I just said about the women. It's called the Repentance Poem number 4 by a man named Matthew Rowe. And he says, I find this very tender because the idea of working with our soul knowing to establish that sense of anchoring ourselves in the knowing of our higher truth, our higher self within us, no longer recognizing that it's something that comes from the outside, though we recognize we dwell within this universal field of consciousness of great love, and we name that. We name that as the spirit, as the divine, as the mystery, as love itself, right? Every one of us has our own longing, our own name, our own sense of connection to that divine. And we're all a part of that. We all are a vehicle and an instrument. It's named as our soul. And this physical body encases that soul. And we create this ego, this construct around that becomes our personality. It becomes our operative in our experience out in the world. But oftentimes, the soul and the deep higher self of our truest nature is blocked by moments of our impression, a stubborn part of us that will not forgive another, that will not forgive ourselves. And so this idea of this higher self feels like it's somewhere else, but it's within us, as this true witness. So this repentance poem from Matthew, going along with the 16 years of friendships, of all the people I don't think about anymore, you're the one I miss the most. The last night we spoke, I knew the combination of words I could have said to make things better, but I didn't. When I read that, I thought, that's how we are. When we rehearse the moments we've been in conflict, whether it be to ourself, to the deep self, or with another, we're all in this together. And every one of us is mirroring back. I know sometimes that's the thing that we do not want to stomach, that things are mirrored back to us, that which we need to know, that which we need to open our hearts to, so that that higher self emerges in its full glory. And that witness self within us that is beckoning us always, ushering us to this deep knowing, reveals itself. And we walk in that. We walk our talk. We walk our knowing. We walk in confidence. We walk in grace. We walk in forgiveness. We had the sage workshops yesterday, and this came up in the wisdom of the elders in our community. This idea of self-forgiveness is very ultimate throughout our lifetime to really work our skill. And it's not something, I've done it once, I've done it, I've said it, I'm there. No, we do it daily. We do it again and again and again. We repeat it, especially to the self. I forgive myself. I forgive myself for those unskillful ways, for those moments where I misunderstood. And those moments where I allowed my sensitivity to be the lead in my experience, so that others had to dance around me. Oh dear, Sue's here. She's a little too sensitive. She might not want to hear this, but we must tell her. And I hear that. And yet, that is an image, an old idea of me. I've gotten pretty strong. I've gotten pretty tough. Still get my feelings hurt, but that's my work, because nobody did it to me, right? Nobody does it to you. And when you can stand in that, then whatever comes your way is a revelation, not a hurt feeling. So I use those as tools. I mean, I might go whimper, poor Charlie. He might hear me go, and then, you know what else? I am the victim of. But then I hear it, and I forgive myself. And I am in gratitude for the other that brought my attention to a greater idea of who I am. And so the invitation for you is to allow that to be a practice, that you realize I am a construct of perceptions, of illusions, of thoughts. This idea of myself, even that isn't real. What is real is when I'm mindful and I'm in the moment. Who am I? Who am I? Am I defined by the roles? Am I defined by being the sensitive one, the one? Or am I the one that allows the Spirit to dwell within me and be my courage and be my strength and be my love and be the channel that now longs to reveal itself through me, as me to you, and you to me as you? And there we dance on the common ground of unity, of love, that divine givingness of all that there is. And that's awesome. That's happiness, that's joy, that's love. That's the dance we're in. But thoughts get in our way, don't they? And I'm not going to bring it up again, because I brought it up at the 9 o'clock service, and I've started to watch my own self get kind of like edgy about Facebook stuff. But so just know that that's out there in the other talk, and you can go look at it. But we're all, I think therapy now should just, I have an appointment for you. I have a Facebook appointment for you on 9 o'clock to get over your stuff about what other people are saying about their stuff. And so it's a whole avenue. I was speaking to somebody about this artificial intelligence. What we have with computers in this world has brought us all together into a greater knowing. We know everything, or we don't. And we are now impressed with this thought and that thought, and all the thought bubbles that ever were are coming across our screen. And we're plucking them. Oh, I think that one's mine. Oh, I disagree with that. They are wrong because that doesn't match mine. And then we're in conflict. But that's not common ground. That's not what the divine dance is all about. The divine dance is about finding love and love alone, and finding that through all the situations. And if you can't find it, you do forgiveness work for yourself, for not knowing, for judging, for stay with your judgment, stay in the muck of your judgments as long as you need to until the truth is revealed. Let them be your journey, your judgment. Let them be a dialogue with yourself, not put upon another, but let yourself really see it until you can do the forgiveness work. So the idea, ego is defined, and I was sharing in the earlier service because this was one that just, Ernest Holmes has a higher idea of what the ego is, and in his text, in the glossary, he says exactly this: I am of the Bible. This is what the ego is to him. It is the I am of the Bible, the Christ, the perfect idea of God. And right away I was going, now wait a minute, that's bumping mine. And I think I'm right. Over Ernest Holmes. But I sat with myself and I thought, well, where did I get mine? If this is metaphysical terms. The ego refers to the real consciousness of man. In psychology, it carries a slight variation of interpretation. Psychology, humanity, in that realm, all ideas take another context, right? But in the higher truth, in spiritual truth, there is one knowing, and that one knowing has its flavor through all Scripture. That's when you know it's the truth. But he goes on to say, in psychology, it carries a slight variation of interpretation, implying an organization or system of mental states. In this textbook, we frequently use it merely to convey the thought of the inner man, the real self. The inner man, the real self, the higher self. So ego can be thought of as the unconscious part of ourselves, the part that is reactive, the part that is subject to liking and disliking, controlling and judging. And in Wayne Dyer, as we look at his sacred self, he said it is nothing more than an idea that each of us has about ourselves, an illusion that seems to influence our experience. Now, if we can come to common ground on that and realize, well, I can kind of wear that one a little bit, and then dive in deeper and center on the true self. He reminds us that we have inner beliefs. We have these inner beliefs that we've been trained to accept. And true peace is knowing that within you, true peace, within you is the presence of the One, the presence of the divine. Know that. Know that more than anything else. Keep allowing yourself to strip away and pop all the different bubbles of thought. Let them go. I am. Within me is the presence of the divine, dwells within me as me, and I allow myself to formulate that idea and operate from that presence dwelling within. He starts in his chapter about uniting with your higher self. He says, see in the mirror and remember, it's backward seeing. When you look in a mirror, it's backward seeing. And I'm going, what? My left eye is my right eye? Well, then which eye do I think is smaller than the other one? Now I've been judging the wrong eye. And it's like, it just kind of warps your world. And you're thinking, flip it. And it's like, that's what the invitation is. Flip your perception and see a greater truth, a deeper truth. See yourself from the inside out. See with these eyes of the soul. My mother passed away a few weeks ago. And my sister was there. I was here. My sister was there. And she said, Sue, her eyes. I said, don't look away, Bonnie. Don't look away. That's the soul. That's the last moment. Don't look away. The eyes are showing you the love of the mother. You are blessed. You have this moment of this journey, of this transition. Don't look away. She said, they're so blue. They're clear, they're blue, they're speaking truth. Right then. It's the most mystical, magical moment. Don't look away. When a soul looks at you, Look back into the soul and don't look away. That's what love is. And that's what gives us strength. That's what allows us to carry on. So though I wasn't there, I see my mother's eyes as the most beautiful blue. Yogananda saw his mother's eyes as the dark black eyes. He sought that in his grief. He cried out to the mother, come back to me. I want to see those dark eyes again. And it was the Divine Mother that appeared to Yogananda. It was the greater mother. You see, when we allow ourselves to truly surrender all our fears, all the thoughts, and to go into the simple truth to know that the divine dwells within each and every one of us, that God truly is in each and every one of us, why would we not like another being? We don't have to like their ways. That is humanity. But as a spiritual soul, we look deeply in, and I see you. I really see you. And the love pours out. And the higher self breathes itself in you. And we become these vehicles encased in, changing bodies. Skin that does what skin does. It's kind of funny, I put on this neck that's this collar that's itching me like crazy, but I thought, kind of hides the little bit of a double chin. And I thought, no, it doesn't. It kind of accentuates it. And I thought, okay, there we go. I'm back out there in this outer being. Outer. But within me, I am cloaked in warmth. So these ideas, reminding ourselves to feel special. It's okay to feel special. To notice yourself when you are offended or you're hurt. It's just something being mirrored back to you, and time to allow yourself not to be so self-absorbed that you cannot penetrate to the truth. To allow yourself to be in the loving presence. What is this before me now? As I sit with you, my divine friend within me, as me, that knows me, there's the witness within me, that knows my truth, that knows my very heart, that knows why this hurts me. What is mine to know here? And you sit with it with open palm, with open heart. And you allow the broken heart, the fractured heart, to mend its way as you smile upon the greater truth that is revealed. You stay with it long enough. There's this beautiful passage from Wise Aging, and it says, the soul you planted in me is pure. Its energy itself, it's pure. It is given the shape by this vessel, and it may be directed towards good or ill. It may be directed to lust, which is just misdirected love. It could be directed to fear, which is just overextended respect, vanity. It could be all of these different ideas. But it's ours to love this oneself, to take ourselves back and to find balance with regret and move it into self-respect. It's what our vehicle, what this beautiful body and soul have come to union with to do in this lifetime. Why would we not want to do that perfect work? None of us is superior or special. Ouch. Not? No. Not one of us is better than the other. We're all one. And with each one of us is a wise guide, a higher self that is in direct alignment with this divine givingness, this divine love, this God consciousness. It's the true self that speaks with wisdom. It is that which in the still, small, quiet moments with yourself, in your deep prayer work, in your spiritual work, in the day that you're walking your walk, you hear the stirring and your eyes open and you allow the soul to join you as your eyes look out into the world and you see only beauty. You see grace transforming all that has been. Know that grace is transforming, transmitting all that has been into a greater good. And you walk in that walk, and you lay down the tension. You lay down your shoulders of worry and regret and fussiness and judgment and bitterness, because God's got this. And you can just keep on walking with the eyes of the soul looking out through you and painting your world. So oftentimes, though, we do find ourselves dancing in those two worlds. And we see things, ideas of how we want them to be based on the past or an imaginary future. We think life should not be this way, it should be that way, though it's wrong out there. And then we start to develop the fear, the anxiety, the criticism. But just accept it. Just allow yourself to pause and say, I am choosing now the practice, the spiritual practice of anointing myself every day with mindful moments. To be fully present, to be fully accepting, to be kind and compassionate, joyful, content, and not judging. There's a passage from this book that's in the bookstore, The Things That You Can See Only When You're Down. And when you're feeling low, Hamin Sunin says, I'm feeling low, what should I do? I'm feeling low, what should I do? Quietly observe the feelings without trying to change it. It will change on its own. Oh, okay. As if gazing at a tree in the backyard, as if sitting by the river and watching the water flow by. Quietly, observe your feelings as if they were external to you. If you observe your feelings in this way just for 3 minutes, you will notice their energy and texture slowly changing. Feelings are born from a matrix of conditions beyond your control. Just like you can't control the weather or your boss's mood, you can't control the feelings in your body. They are just passing through, like clouds in the sky. They too will dissipate on their own. Now that's where you take your breath. You breathe in and you breathe out. Oh, this too is passing. But if you take them too seriously and start internalizing them as if now they're part of your identity, then you will resuscitate them every time you think about the past. Remember that you are neither your feelings nor the story your mind tells you to make sense of them. You are the vast silence that knows of their emergence and their disappearance. Awesome. They come, they go. They come, they go. So I'm going to take you briefly in a very short practice where you sit with that. Wayne Dyer has wonderful, this chapter is Free the Higher Self from the Ego. And I share this before we go into the meditation. When you transcend the ego, you will simultaneously begin to cultivate the friendship with a loving presence that resides within you. Then you will announce to yourself, this is it. I need nothing more. I want more love, more life, more purpose, all of which are attainable with the partnership of my higher self and the knowing about my sacred path. I want authenticity. I do not want a drug fix or a hangover to impoverish myself to feed my habits. The idea that a chemical provides freedom is counterfeit to this idea. All I will ever get from that counterfeit idea is the need for more, an internal boost to the false self, to that ego. I transcend that into a greater knowing, into a greater understanding that envelops each and every one of us. So, as we move through our week, watch your practice. Allow your moments when you wake up in the morning to be those still small moments of deep quietude with yourself. And simply don't expect too much from others. Don't expect it. You cannot change anyone. Sit with that for a while until it dissipates. You cannot change anyone. Be patient in your mindful practices. Discern to your own true self, what is my authentic self? What is mine? Who is it in me? Who am I? What do I feel? What thoughts are occupying my mind? What is just habitual thinking, just going random through me? And what is it that passes through me? Can I listen deeper to that inner voice of loving kindness, self-forgiveness? I choose now to allow that self-forgiveness to be my daily practice. Ask in my practice, what is growing cold or causing a knot in my soul? The dialogue of the what ifs. Oh, if only they had, or if only I had, if I'm the victim. All these swirling stories of discontent. They're sapping our energy. They're restricting our freedom, and they're allowing you to stay disappointed. They're the regrets. Stay with it. Just stay with it until it's acted itself out and it has no more energy. Let it go. Let it reveal its feelings totally. Hold it. Release it into the ethers. And decide right then, may my compassion exceed my justice. May I forgive myself and forgive this issue as I choose to be free, so my higher self and I can merge as one. There's so many stories about deep forgiveness, especially when I read of a Holocaust survivor, and one person said to him, how can you be so generous to those that tortured you? And he said, if I had two souls, I would devote one to hating them. But since I have only one, I don't want to waste it on hating anything. That's true. Let us take the wisdom of some of the most horrific stories that we can't even hardly stomach out in the consciousness. Let us take the gems of the truth of the people that walked in that suffering and take that truth and give them the respect and live it too. There's an interesting way with this, by adding to whatever story you have, whatever it is, adding just like me. This is so. This is the story. La 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 la. Just like me. Just like me. Whatever it is, the stories are just our stories. So, I would like you to, if I can invite Judy up to tinkle the keys and allow yourself to shift your posture. To remember as you work in a practice, we're choosing to love for the sake of love itself. We're looking at the moments where we've been impatient or angry with anything that has been in our experience, currently or in the past. And we're recognizing humanity itself is not perfect, but God is. And we allow ourselves to be okay with the imperfections in human beings, just like me, being okay, loving the world, loving God, loving until you represent and feel the mercy and the grace flowing through you. So we see now with eyes of love and a sight of forgiveness, and all we bathe our world in forgiveness. Forgive them, they know not what they do. So as you take your seat, closing your eyes, there is a moment when you close your eyes, you turn within. This is the practice. And you are mindful of the weight and the sense of your body in this chair, your body in this room, the sounds in this room, the breathing in this room, the love in this room. And you feel safe, and you breathe deeper. And the breath releases the tensions, the separation. The breath is the vehicle, the means to transmute all these feelings into love and grace itself. Breathing in, breathing out. You're noticing everything. You allow your eyes to lift to the higher good, to the higher knowing. And as your eyes lift their point of view, you start recognizing, I am practicing compassion here. I am practicing compassion to my dearest self and thereby to all beings. I'm noticing everything, allowing everything to be exactly as it is. I am relaxing. I'm not trying to do anything here. I'm not holding on to anything. I'm not resisting. I'm not pushing. Everything just is. Everything just is. I'm the one breathing. I feel the soul coming through the breath in me, and my body is expanding into this knowing. The breath goes out, the breath comes in. Awareness rests deep in my belly and expands outward. There becomes no boundary. There's nothing left. Everything is merging. Attention is resting in this vast awareness. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. I am present. Oh, I am present. I am actually here, right here, in this moment, in this room. I'm inhaling and exhaling. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. I am noticing. I am noticing with eyes of compassion, with eyes and heart of self-forgiveness. I am that I am. I am that awareness. I am patient. I am compassionate. I am kind. I am gentle. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong here. Nothing's wrong here. We're just breathing. Sensations rise and go. Breathing, thoughts rise and pass away. I am breathing. Emotions rise and pass away. I'm still the one breathing. I am that I am. This is my higher self. I am that. Krishnamurti says, what is important in meditation is the quality in the mind and the heart. It is not what you achieve or what you say you attained, but the quality of your mind that is innocent and vulnerable. Let us take a breath into that absolute, into that knowing. I am that I am. I chose to come this day to hang together with my friends of a lifetime, for we journey together as one, and we recognize higher truth. And we recognize the forgiveness one to the other and to the internal self. For the moments we are less than skillful, we forgive. And we choose today to walk our talk, to open our eyes, to open our heart, to be that love at this time on our planet, in this world, in this culture. We are no longer divided. We are united by love. This is the common ground upon which we stand. And we are empowered by this truth. We can feel it pulsing in our body. We can see it flowing through the vessels of our being. I am that I am. I am that love. I am that truth. So be it. We breathe. Our eyes open. Look around. There's only loving souls looking back at you. Look around. Yeah. Feel it? It's yours. Thank you.